Good morning, my dear students. I'm your social teacher of Class 4. Today, we are going to see the new lesson, that is, Unit 2, Lesson 6, the coastal plains and the islands. Students, in this lesson, we are going to learn two things, that is, the western coastal plain, the eastern coastal plain, people living in the region, and the islands. Students, do you know what do you mean by coastal plains? The part of land that is near to the sea is called coast. We all know India is a peninsular region, so three sides covered by water. What is in the east? Bay of Bengal. What is in the west? Arabian Sea. What is there in the down? Indian Ocean. So, three sides covered by water. We have coast on both two sides. We can divide this coast into two parts. One is eastern coastal plains and the western coastal plain. India has a very long coastline of about 6,000 km and its width is 120 km in the eastern coastal plain and 65 km in the western coastal plain. Both these coastal plains meet at Kanyakumari. Now we can move to western coastal plain. These western coastal plains are located between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It stretches from Bay of Bengal in the north to Tamil Nadu in the south. The western coastal plains are narrower than the eastern coastal plains. They have a rocky terrain. The Gujarat coast, the Konkan coast and the Malabar coast are the three divisions of the western coastal plains. The Gujarat coast is broadest between the Gulf of Kutch and the Gulf of Cambet in Gujarat. The Konkan coast is south of the Gujarat coast, has a coastline which is a narrow, rocky, uneven surface. This Malabar coast is down of Konkan coast. These coastal plains have a hot and humid climate and receives rainfall during the winter season. These climatic conditions support the cultivation of coconut, cashew nut, rice and groundnut. Apart from farming, fishing is the main occupation of people living in this region. Now we can see backwater or lagoons. What do you mean by backwater? A part of a river away from the main part where the water only moves slowly is called backwater. What do you mean by a lagoon? A saltwater lake that is separated from the sea by an area of a rock or sand. Can you understand? Both this backwater or lagoons are there in the Malabar coast. This Malabar coast is in Kerala, that lies south of the Konkan coast. Now we can see the rivers, ports and important cities in the western coastal plains. What are the rivers flowing in this region? That is Tapi, Narmada and Mandovi. These rivers drain into the Arabian Sea. They do not form deltas. Now we can see ports in the western coastal plains. Kandla in Gujarat, Jawaharlal Nehru Port, Mumbai, Marmego in Goa, Cochin, Kerala. Important cities in these areas are Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Panaji, Calicut, and Thiruvananthapuram. Now we can move to eastern coastal plains. The eastern coastal plains are located between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. It stretches from West Bengal in the north to Tamil Nadu in the south. It is much broader than the western coastal plains. They are less rocky and the sea around the coast is shallow. What do you mean by shallow? It is not deep. Due to the shallow coast, these coastal plains form deltas. These eastern coastal plains are divided into two parts, the northern circus and the Coromandel coast. Keep it in your mind, children. The western coastal plain is divided into three parts. This eastern coastal plain is divided into two parts. That is, again I am saying, the northern circus and the Coromandel coast. These plains move across the states of West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. The climate and vegetation in these areas are hot and humid climate. The northern part of these plains receives monsoon rains, while the southern part receives rainfall during the winter season. The soil is very fertile in this region, so sugarcane, coconut and rubber or the other crops grown in this region. Fishing and farming are the two main occupations in this region. We can see rivers, ports and important cities. Rivers in these areas are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. These rivers form large deltas on the eastern coastal plains. Ports such as Chennai, Visakhapatnam and Kolkata. Important cities in these areas are Visakhapatnam, Chennai, Bhubaneswar, Hyderabad, Madurai and Puducherry. Now we can see the importance of the coastal plains. The deltas of the major rivers of the east coast, which have very fertile alluvial soil, are important for agriculture. Fishing is the major occupation of the people on the west coast, and they export fishes to other countries. The beaches of the coastal plains are tourist attractions. The Ran of Kutch in the state of Gujarat is famous for flamingos and wild ashes. The seaports on the coastal plains help in the development of trade with other countries. Pleasant climate and a good amount of rainfall of this region support a large population. Marina Beach in Chennai is one of the longest beaches in the world. Kochi in Kerala is known as the Queen of Arabian Sea. The Space Research Center of Tumba in Kerala, Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh and Chandipur in Odisha are located in coastal areas. Students, these are the important points about this lesson. Now we can have a recall. India has a long coastline of about 6,000 kilometers. The coastal plains lies between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats in the west and the Bay of Bengal in the Eastern Ghats in the east. The eastern coastal plains and the western coastal plains meet at Kanyakumari. The western coastal has many lagoons and the eastern coastal has many deltas. I already taught you that the western coastal plain have three parts: the Gujarat coast, the Konkan coast and the Malabar coast. In this western coastal plains, we have rivers, ports and important cities. Then we can see the backwater. What do you mean by backwater? A part of a river away from the main part where the water only moves slowly is called backwater. What do you mean by port? A place by the sea where a ship load and unload goods is called port. The states covered by western coastal plains are Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka and Kerala. Now we can move to eastern coastal plain. This eastern coastal plain is divided into two parts that we know: the northern circus and the Coromandel coast. The sea waves here are stronger and bigger than those on the western coast due to its shallow coast. While teaching, I taught you what do you mean by shallow. It is not deep. So the waves will come very strong and big. Clear or not? Here also we have rivers, ports and important cities. The state covered in this eastern coastal plains are West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry. Students, that's all about this coastal plains. I recalled already. In the next class, we can see the island part. Thank you children. Have a good day.